You and Chris are going to be in here talking about God knows what.
Oh my God.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You know, by not broadcasting this on video, I'm protecting you people from so much. Although, I've thought about, Chris, our Patreon people, letting them watch us record this, but now I'm just not so sure. I'm just not so sure, my
I
friend.
would never do anything like that on purpose.
I know. Hey, man, what you got in front of you over there?
Listen, man, this guy, I know, he's a pretty good friend of mine. He gave me this thing and said, try it. And this says Distillers of Smith Creek Moonshine.
Uh-oh.
Now, I'm going to read the side of this, and it says, to us, it's all about flavor. This jar of shine was created by combining 100-year-old traditions and today's technology, all with your taste buds in mind. Try it and see. This is recipe number 116.
All right, dude.
Hang on. It's straight, 100 proof.
Okay.
And it's crafted by Dub.
Dub did this? Well, you know, you can't trust Dub. Who the heck can you trust?
This is supposedly a good friend of mine that handed me this bottle of corn liquor here that I'm fixing to take a hit off of on mic. And we're going to see if I can still talk. Here we go.
All right.
That's actually not bad.
It's not bad?
Not bad.
Oh, okay.
It's really not bad. I mean, I don't recommend it for the weak of heart, but that's not. But I'm going to give you that back.
If you have a small constitution, maybe not. All right, let's give it a whirl here. Okay, yeah. All right,
It's not. I mean,
it's not terrible.
Listen, that's store bought shine.
It is store bought shine.
I've had some not store bought shine, and let me tell you something. You can't talk after you drink.
No, you can't talk after you drink it. Sorry about that sound, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, guys, welcome to the Retro Show with Butch and Chris. I am Butch Renfroe, and with me, of course, always is my buddy, my friend, best man at my wedding.
Happening.
My co-host.
Folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the one and only
Chris Curtis. Man, I love this crowd.
The crowd loves you, man.
You said I have contempt for the audience, but these guys are awesome.
These guys are pretty good, aren't they?
How about you guys in the back over there? Yeah. All right, this side. Yeah.
Hey, man, what's been going on?
Man, I'm dealing with all kinds of stuff at one time. You ever do that?
Juggling chainsaws.
Yeah.
And the chainsaws are on fire.
Chainsaws and baby cats.
Yep. Chainsaws and baby cats. Okay. I will tell you this. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'm going to tell you, like we always do at the outset of each and every episode, and we're probably already, 2-3 minutes in. Today's topic is our favorite albums from 1978. Okay, 1978. Now, the reason I tell you that now is because we're going to go and talk about other stuff for, a good little while. And then we're going to come back and we're actually going to hit the subject. But first, I want to tell you, Chris, I have found what I think is the perfect breakfast sandwich.
Really?
I know. After all this, it took me 57 years to find.
Wait a minute. I still see the buttermilk English muffins over there.
Yes, and they play a part in this.
I figured they did.
And so, but see, here's the thing. The perfect breakfast sandwich is predicated. Do you like that word? That's a $5 lawyer word.
Dude, I don't
there.
even know what that means.
Predicated. It means you got to have it. Okay.
It
is based on the fact that you have to have a leftover jalapeno popper. Okay, I know there's some people say there's not such a thing, but the fact is I made.
Well, you saw the look when
did.
you said that. I was reading something and I popped my head up and looked at you like, "What is that? What is a leftover jalapeno popper?"
Yes, folks, it was a look of incredulity. That's another $5 lawyer word. Incredulity. Okay, that Chris just gave me. So, first of all, I guess I got to go ahead and tell you that my jalapeno popper recipe is pretty good. It's pretty simple. Okay. First of all, you got to have a brick of softened cream cheese. Okay,
He said a brick.
A brick of softened cream, or like
8 ounces.
Okay,
it's 8 ounces.
Thank you.
Yeah.
8 ounces of softened cream cheese. You got to have a tablespoon, because I ain't playing around, of chili powder. Okay.
I'm in.
Then a cup of the sharpest cheddar you can get. Grated up and mixed in with
the cream cheese.
The cream cheese. Okay. Then you take
you had me at cream cheese. Anyway, go ahead.
I did. And then you take the jalapeno and you slice it in two. Okay. And then you scoop out the seeds and stuff, because you don't want to kill people.
So this is an actual jalapeno popper.
Yeah.
Or you're making a jalapeno popper.
I'm making a jalapeno popper.
Okay, I'm with you now. Now I'm with you. Okay.
I'm doing this,
I thought we were doing a breakfast sandwich, but...
No.
Right now we're doing the jalapeno popper.
Right now I'm just doing the jalapeno
Gotcha.
popper. Okay.
All right.
So you take the jalapeno, the half jalapeno, and you put the cream cheese mixture in. You wrap bacon around it, which... I know.
My head snapped up again.
You wrap bacon around anything, you're going to eat it.
Yeah.
Especially you. And so then you put it into, now listen, if you want to do it right, you put it on your grill. Okay. And you grill
of course
it.
You do.
Until, the bacon is, nice and crispy. Or you can use an air fryer. I have used an air fryer and cheated a little bit. But, okay, so. If you have a leftover one of these,
I've actually used some stuff in somebody else's air fryer. That's a pretty good piece of kitchen equipment. I'm not going to lie.
It is. So you take, and so if you have a leftover one, or you may stick one back to use for this breakfast sandwich. So, in the morning when you get up, first of all, you have to fry yourself an egg. Okay.
Oh my
First
Lord.
thing, and if you fry it in bacon grease, you get extra credit. And about 2 years off your life, but that's okay. And then you take the egg, you put it on your toasted English muffin. Then you take your leftover jalapeno popper, you pop it in the microwave until you warm it up. Because what have you got on there? You've already got your cheese, you've already got your bacon, and you're adding a smoked cooked jalapeno. Dude, I'm telling you right now, best breakfast sandwich you've ever had.
Dude, I'm in on that anyway. I mean, I'm in on that. That is just crazy.
Folks, if you tuned into this show to hear the best albums of 1978, that's coming. But you got a bonus piece of goodness here, and you're welcome, is what you are.
I'm going to tell you something, guys. He can cook, and he's really good at it.
When we were living together... Okay, so let me tell you a Monty Curtis
Vikings.
story. Like Vikings. And so by the time you hear this, the Monty Curtis episode will have aired. Monty is Chris's brother. And so let me tell you the Monty Curtis story that I have of when we all lived together. Because Chris and I moved in together, then Monty moved back in with us to the house. And so... I was working.
And that's a whole different.
That's a
dynamic.
whole other thing. That's a whole that changed everything. There were strange things that happened after that. So Monty shows up at 3 a.m. I've got to get up at 5 and go to work. At 3 a.m., Monty comes in from whatever Monty's doing at 3 a.m. Monty has obviously been altered in some way.
He's been drinking.
Chemically, yes. And so he comes in, he's knocking on my door, and I said, dude, I've got to get up and, hey, man, cook me something to eat at this point. I was like, dude, get out of my room. I'm going to bug you till you cook me something to eat. So I said, you know what? Fine. I'm going to get up. I'll make us both.
Welcome to my world.
Yes. So I will get up and I'll make us both something to eat. So I go in and I make a breakfast because you know what? I've got to head out in a little bit anyway and go to work. And I go in there and Monty is passed out on the couch. I said, oh, no. No. You woke me up to make you something to eat. So I started shaking. No, you get up. He's like, I'm just going to go to sleep now. Okay, man. That's fine.
I remember one, I ended up, you moved out shortly after that.
Yeah.
Butch is like, I can't live here anymore. But I had been out really, really late, and I had to get up early, but not really early.
Right.
Monty had to get up really early.
Yeah.
And he gets up, and I had that middle bedroom, and the bathroom was right there by the middle bedroom.
Yep.
And he's in there at the top of his lungs going, I want to be in the army. I mean, yelling at the top of his lungs. That's the only time I got really, really pissed off at him. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yes, we're actually, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what just happened. This is live. This is almost live. My wife just came in from walking the dog, and she looked at me and goes, are you recording?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. Debbie, come and sit down.
Yep, come sit.
Come on.
Heck yeah.
You can be a part of this.
Well,
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podcast,
the one, the only.
ladies and gentlemen, Debbie Renfroe.
It's a great crowd.
So anyway, yeah, okay. Now you can say hello. I got you turned up.
Hello.
Okay, so you got to get into that microphone. You got to act like you like it. So,
Oh.
yeah,
Do I need to show her
Okay.
how to love the microphone?
yeah. My goodness. So anyway, we're about to get into our top albums of 1978, and I think I'm going to make her join us here.
Okay.
My wife, Debbie Renfroe, will be.
I'm really okay with that.
I know that'll be fun. It'd be an extra twist into the normal podcast. But folks, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break for all of our sponsorage, and of course, all of the fine people who follow us at our Patreon account, and the people who have supported us. We're going to give them their shout out, and we're going to come back right after this. Hey guys, we're back on the podcast here.
It always
and
seems so short.
I know it just flies by, doesn't it? It's actually about 3 or 4 minutes sometimes, but it just flies by. So the topic of today is the top albums of 1978. Chris,
Yeah, man, that's.
What do you think, man?
I'm looking at the list here, and it's a really good list.
it's a pretty good list.
You don't think about when stuff comes out when you're listening to it. I mean, you don't. I mean, unless it's monumental, which for me, music is very, very memory provoking.
Yes.
For me, music's tied into a lot of memories for me, but you don't think about it. But I mean, there are some really, really good albums that came out in '78.
Man, there's some great albums that came out in 1978. I think one that, now, of course, did you ever come up with your top 10 on this?
No, but I'm just gonna.
He's going to wing it.
I'm gonna wing it.
So anyway, there's a lot of great albums that did come out that year. Now,
I mean, I do have like a top 5 on here for sure. No
Okay.
problem.
All right,
That's
well,
really not a problem. I'm gonna let you start though.
okay, so let's just go ahead and say that we're going to do a top 5. But what I'd like to do first is those that didn't make our top 5, but we're still really good.
Okay.
That's going to end up on our list. And I think I have to talk about the first Cars album, which is the Cars.
I like the Cars though.
Man, I love the Cars.
I do. I don't even see it on here. Where's it at?
It's actually on my list down there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Wow, that came out that year too.
Yeah, 1978.
I was talking about the next one on the list.
But anyway,
I did not know that.
yeah. So that first Cars album had some really good stuff on there. It had. I'm sorry, man. I'm messing with your volume here.
Why?
Why
are you messing with my volume?
Because I was turning up the wrong thing. Ladies and gentlemen, things happen. So anyway, my first one that doesn't make my top 5 is the first Cars album. And Debbie, you got any particular favorites from 1978?
1978. Well, at first I thought Rumors, but that's 77.
That's 77.
But yeah, I would say on your list, Butch, I would pick Van Halen out of that group.
Van Halen, that's a solid choice. Solid choice. Where's it going to end up on my list? Wait and find out.
I can't imagine Butch liking Van Halen.
That's probably because when
It's
we were
crazy.
dating, you came over to the house and at that time, I
Tell the story. This is great.
I was telling Butch I didn't like Van Halen that much. I was new to music really, and then I looked down around my ankles were like 2 or 3 Van Halen albums in the floor of the car.
It's a great place to keep them, by the way.
I converted her on that. So yeah.
Well, yeah.
So that happened. Chris, what you got for one of your favorite albums from '78?
One of my favorites, definitely Dog and a Butterfly.
Dog and Butterfly by
by
Heart
Heart.
is so good.
Yeah, great I mean, that's probably my favorite Heart album. And they did a comeback in the 80s, the mid-80s. You remember that? I mean, it was huge. And it was
we were listening to that a lot.
Big.
Because we were living together at the time when that album came out.
And, but I don't think it topped that.
No, when I go back now and I listen, really, I mean, I like that album that they came out with in the mid-80s, man. But their stuff before that, to me, was just, it's better music.
It is. That 70s sound, man, you just can't. It went away, and I wished it hadn't have.
Yeah. So, so I have to say, on my list of ones that did not make my top 5, also on my list would be "Stranger in Town," Bob Seger.
You know how I feel about Bob.
I know you love Bob Seger.
I love Bob, but no, not Nine Tonight. I'm not Nine Tonight, but Night Moves is probably my top Bob Seger album of all time.
Yeah,
I love Night Moves. That's a great.
That is
album.
a very good album. Debbie, you got anything else from '78 that you like?
Debbie, were you alive in '78?
She was. Come on, she's not that much younger than
she's
me.
like a 92
baby.
She just looks younger
Just
than
a
me.
baby.
Debbie has aged like
78.
wine, and I have aged like a banana.
Well, the Boston album, "Don't Look Back," that's such a classic. I mean, those songs are as fresh now as they were
That entire album.
the first time I heard them. And I think "Pieces of 8" by Styx, even though
Oh
it's
no!
not on.
Just one at a time.
I'm
Just
sorry.
one at a time.
Lord.
You got to do
I
the format.
know, I'm sorry.
She's trying. Yeah, see
There we go.
Yeah,
Right there.
I
mean,
can't take
this
her
is-
anywhere.
Well, this is when
Chris.
you put new people in. I mean, they don't know the rules.
I
They
know.
don't know.
It's like when we did the show with
That's
Keller.
one warning, Debbie, and then you're going to have to
Okay.
go.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to sit here until I'm asked a question.
That's right. So, yes, but the Boston
Act
don't.
just like Monty did.
But yeah, the Boston Don't Look Back. You and I have talked about this album before as being one of the favorites that we had. Actually, it's one of the first ones I ever got on 8-track. As a matter of fact, I still owe Columbia House probably a lot of money for that first batch of 8-tracks that I got.
Scam in the entire world.
It was.
But everybody did it.
Everybody did it. It's like, well, it's like, okay, kids, Uncle Butch's going to take you on a trip. Okay, so back in the back of all the magazines and everything that you would have, and I mean every single magazine, Columbia House would have this offer. And Columbia House was a record and tape club, meaning that you could, for one measly penny, get 13 albums or 8-tracks.
Yep.
At the time I did it, or cassettes later on, and you could get those, but you had to buy what was like 6 over the next 2 years that you had to say that you were going to buy from them.
$9,000
At $9,000 a piece. And so, I probably still owe them because I did that. And my dad was left on the hook, and he, but he took care of it. I ended up, and did you ever forget to send the card back in?
Oh, yeah.
Then you ended up with something you never listened to.
Yeah. That's how Boy George made it big.
So
These things are flying off the shelf.
they're just flying off the shelf. It's just a top-selling album. No, you forgot to send your card back to Columbia Records and Tape Club. So, Chris, you got anything on the list that's not top 5 but still high on the list?
Yeah, man, and it's gonna make you laugh. But the Grease soundtrack,
Dude, who didn't have that? Debbie had it.
Absolutely.
I mean,
it's not my top 5, but
you can sing every one of them, can't you?
I saw it like
Summer
22
loving.
times in the theater because it was on forever.
And what did we do on Friday nights, people?
The movies.
We went to the movie theater. You know why? Because there was literally nothing else for people our age to do.
That's
And we
great.
had 2 movies.
Yeah.
We had 2 screens.
2 screens, and that's where you met your girlfriend if you had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, you met her at the movies.
Yeah.
And
Your girlfriend of the week.
You didn't sit in your normal seats with your buddies. You sat somewhere behind them so they could not be messing with you from behind.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
But we would try anyway. So another one that is on the list. And guys, I'm telling you, 1978 was just a phenomenal year of music that came out. Double platinum from Kiss. Double platinum from Kiss came out, and that was the greatest hits from Kiss that came out at that time, and was just like, and like if you'd ever wanted to get into Kiss, that was the time to do it, because you could get a double album, had all of their greatest hits on there, and you could just kind of say, oh, okay, I see why Kiss is awesome.
Yeah.
And you could get that and find out. Debbie, you got anything on the list there that that just sticks out to you? We have a list here that I printed out of albums from 1978.
Well, so many of them I can see, like Rod Stewart. I'm a big Rod Stewart fan.
Okay, so that's another one from the list. Yeah, she's going to say like 5 or 6 in a row.
Am I what? I'm going to say 5 or 6 in a row.
She's going to
in a row.
I could tell where that was going.
Okay.
So
Well,
Rod Stewart.
let's park at Rod Stewart.
Rod Stewart. You know what? Here's the thing about Rod Stewart. We went and saw Rod Stewart. When was that? Like 20 years ago almost.
Yeah, it was a great concert.
It was a great concert. And the thing about Rod Stewart is that what is amazing to me is that Rod Stewart is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
There's a lot of people that are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that should be.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just one of them right there. But that really floored me, because this guy has been around since what?
Well, he's an icon.
Yeah.
Faces?
Since the Faces.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And, which honestly, my favorite Rod Stewart stuff is probably from his Faces era.
Yeah. And it just comes on as Rod Stewart, and they don't even mention Faces.
I know.
It's kind of crazy.
It is.
It's kind of crazy. I had it, and I've lost it, damn it.
All right, Chris.
I know.
Come on, man. You can do it. I have faith in you.
And this is albums that are not on our list, is that right?
Yeah, they're not on your top 5 yet.
Toto.
Listen, that first Toto album, Hold the
great.
Line.
It was great.
Love
Rosanna's
that
on
song.
Isn't that a
Rosanna's on
great
there,
song?
isn't it?
Listen, my first time to see Toto was when Ryan is my youngest son, and Debbie's too, and she's here, but he's my main concert buddy, and he loves all the bands from the 70s and 80s. So it's a perfect opportunity and excuse for me to go see these bands. And so Toto was opening for for what's left of the band Journey, and they were fantastic.
Mm-hmm. You've got to Hold the Line on that album. Is Rosanna on that album also?
No, that was
come out later?
1982 when that came out. But no, on that first album, I think. Oh man, you're gonna make me whip the phone out here.
No, don't worry about it.
So, but yeah, the first Toto album.
You folks look it up.
Yeah, you guys can look it up, and if you're on Spotify. By the way, if you're listening to this is going to be a Spotify enhanced episode.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and so all of these songs that we mentioned will be on there.
We got to be very careful about what we mention.
That's
Anyway,
right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can't find it.
Okay, I have a request for the Grease soundtrack.
Okay, which one?
Grease Lightning.
A grease lightning. I go grease lightning, you're burning up the quarter mile. Grease lightning, go grease lightning. Okay. Please come back. Don't tune out. Thank you.
Hey, you get a song and a dance here. I was actually dancing. Come on.
He was. And please, sir, wear something besides a Speedo next time. Okay.
That's how I roll, baby.
My wife and my dog
here.
are both in here. Okay, so another album that's not in the top 5, but one that I really, really like, and I'm going to go to this, is Billy Joel, 52nd Street. It shows like Big Shot. That's really the song that first got me into going, oh, who's this guy? And I remember I bought the 45 for that, and I just wore it out.
The coolest Billy Joel song to me that he did, just to me, I love the song just because it tells a story, and it's Piano Man.
Yeah,
that is,
of course,
fantastic.
Debbie, what's that one that you like? Vienna.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great song. He's a good storyteller.
He is,
and that's what I like about Billy Joel is he can sometimes just tell really good stories in a 3.5 minute song. Chris, you got anything else that's not a top 5, but a great album from 1978?
Yeah, man. And it's sad to say, but I actually looked up the album to see what all was on there. But seriously, folks, Joe Walsh. It had basically one really the song that actually skyrocketed him into
Life's Been Good.
Superstardom.
Yeah.
Yeah, Life's Been Good to Me is on
Life's Been Good.
Awesome.
And he was shortly after that. Was he in the Eagles already when this was released, or did he join later?
You know, I don't know. I can't answer that.
I don't know when he joined, but I know that when this came out, he was either in the Eagles already or getting ready to join.
Because the James Gang was in
Yeah.
there too. I mean, he was part of the James Gang.
So did Rocky Mountain Way come after that?
I think that was before
I
this
think that
one,
was the
wasn't it?
James Gang, wasn't it, or was it Joe Walsh?
Dude, I don't know. Someone out there knows, and they're
I
screaming
mean,
at
Joe
the radio.
Walsh is an enigma by himself, and now we're trying to keep up with his music. And when
Yeah.
it came out, that's just not going to happen.
No, Judge. he is a unique dude.
He is.
I'm just going to say,
He is a
and
very
he
unique
is. But he has written some of my favorite songs.
I worked
Ever.
security at Somerset, and he was the headliner, and he was like right there
Really,
behind me.
behind you.
Yes, and I'm sitting there.
Listen, Chris is only 5'3", and so the fact that he's working security.
I needed the money.
Actually, no. Chris is a little bit north of 5'3". It's Debbie that's 5'3". Actually,
I am.
Yeah, look at her go. She's actually 5'2" something, but I'm not going to say what.
No.
She's
You
okay.
and Cindy the same height,
Yeah,
by the way.
they
It's
are
actually 5'2 3/4.
Yeah, but
That's
who's
closer to
counting?
5'3" than 5'2" by 1/4 of an inch. So
But we round up.
I round up.
So we round up. Yes, we do. So another album for me that came out that year that I actually just love, and not a lot of people. It was known for another song that I really enjoyed off of that. It's known for Werewolves of London, but it's Warren Zevon, Excitable Boy. Okay. So Excitable Boy also has a song called Lawyers, Guns, and Money, which is my favorite Warren Zevon song
I don't think I've ever heard it. You're going to have to play that for me.
You know what? On the Spotify version,
Senior banner.
here it is. So, Lawyers, Guns, and Money, Warren Zevon.
No, that's awesome.
So that is one of my favorite songs. So, folks, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to look at our top 5 albums from 1978 in just a moment.
Okay.
Hey, Chris, guess what?
What?
Did you know we have producers?
We
on this
do.
podcast. We
We
do,
do.
and we love them.
But
You
the
know
thing
what?
about the producers on this show, they don't get to tell us nothing.
That's right. If you want to support the podcast, go to retroshow.net and click support the podcast. It's right up there in the menu. Let's go down these names here of these fine, upstanding, beautiful individuals, obviously of good taste.
Absolutely.
Yes, that support this podcast. That's LNC Corporation. You do not cross LNC Corporation.
That you do not
No.
cross the LNC Corporation, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
That's right. Norton!
Chris
Listen,
B.
Norton, I know you've been looking at me. So,
Chris B.
Chris B.
Yep.
Nancy Schwartz.
Nancy Schwartz.
Yeah, Josh Ramsey. Fran Adams. E.M.
Bradford the Behemoth Mason.
Bradford Brad. And then, of course, the original, the first supporter we ever had,
Yep.
Tanya Highland.
Tanya Holland.
That's
You will
right.
always be number one. in
Always
our
be
hearts.
number one, Tanya. So, guys, if you would like to support us, it's $3 a month. You can go to retroshow.net, click support the podcast, and find out more. Now, Chris, we also have a $1.5 million a month level, too. And I'm waiting for that one.
I am, man.
Yeah,
I wish I
because-
would just come through.
Yeah, because I figure it would split $18 million because they have to commit to a year to that, and then we're done.
Bill
We will-
Gates, Donald Trump,
Yeah.
one of you big billionaires.
Now, somebody's got more money than sense. Please Sign up for that deal. Listen, we love all of you, and we thank you for supporting the podcast.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, guys, welcome back to the podcast. We are now ready to go into, ladies and gentlemen, and I just have to tell you, there's a little bit of bone of a contention here that Chris and I had about Van Halen albums. And he said that, what was it you said?
So in the Van Halen episodes, I said Fair Warning was a really, really good Van Halen album, and I love the album, but it wasn't one of my favorites. And Butch's response was, yeah, but it's because your exposure to it. And I'm, what?
No, I meant that for all of us, you know. But
why wouldn't that make it my favorite, though?
okay, well, maybe I was wrong.
That's what I wanted to hear.
That's
Debbie,
what he wanted to hear.
You witnessed that.
I did.
You witnessed
He
this.
did, and
Is that
she-
it?
Not diss Van Halen in any way whatsoever.
I mean,
Well,
this
here's the
show's not
thing.
even about Van Halen. He's still got hearts and little Van Halen symbols on his show notes over here. It's crazy.
I know how to draw the symbol really well. But see, here's what. Here's what's changed since that episode. I have gone back and I've listened to every one
So have I.
of the David Lee Roth Van Halen
Oh,
albums.
no, I haven't done that.
Okay. And here's what I have to say. Now my favorite is Women and Children First.
Really?
Yep.
I really like that album.
I really like that album. And I went back and I listened to the two of them. I went, you know what?
Chris was right.
I think I like this one. No, he likes Van Halen too.
No.
Van Halen 2 is my favorite album.
That's just fair. And listen, you can't go wrong. If you pick any of
Nah,
those
man,
first
they're all
5
great.
albums, you cannot
right.
go wrong.
They're all great. But I'm like driving to work listening to that podcast on the way
You're
to
like,
work. And I was like,
what'd he say to me?
What the hell?
I'm
What?
going to whoop that boy like nobody's business.
I mean, it almost came across as like, you've never really listened to this album. I mean, I don't know why you're even talking.
If you'd really heard it, Chris.
Yeah. You'd have heard it with my ears.
Duly noted. And I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
I still love you.
I know. I love you too, man. All right, guys. So now we're going to get into our top 5 albums. And ladies first.
Absolutely.
Debbie, what's your number 5?
What?
What?
I'm going to say Grease.
Grease?
Yeah.
The Grease soundtrack.
Grease soundtrack? No.
I
You know
really,
what?
You know, that was just such a part of, like we talked about before, our childhood and the girl across the street from me, Karen. You know, we would sing those songs to the tops of our lungs. And
You know, here's what you don't know, but Chris and I would too. We'd get out and we'd showtime in the front
Yeah.
yard.
We
and
made
would do the
dance
entire
routines. We didn't have
crazy-
any
So
friends.
did we.
You guys
no, I'm
did?
kidding.
We
No,
didn't
I'm
have
just
any
kidding.
friends.
out there doing Grease Lightning
We had no friends.
on your dad's car.
Feehan, that was it. Feehan's like, I'll do it.
Happy and I'll do it, sure. Poor Mike. Listen, Mike, we love you, man.
I
we
do love you. I'd love to see you.
we would love to see
you.
Mr. Feehan.
I would.
We would. And I have more Feehan stories to tell as the
Oh my gosh,
podcast goes on.
There's 1,000 of
There are
them.
1,000 of them, and they're all hilarious. So the Grease soundtrack. So what's your favorite cut, Debbie, off of the Grease soundtrack?
It has to be Hopelessly Devoted to You. I'm a huge Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah, it's Olivia Newton-John. I have to agree.
fan.
with
Man,
you.
I was so sad when
Love
she passed
her.
away.
I was too. That,
Listen, man, I had such a huge crush on her when I was
Oh,
a kid
Jesus,
because she was
man.
such a pretty lady.
She was
you know?
beautiful.
Gorgeous,
Let me tell you
talented,
something.
class act.
first time I saw that movie, I'm like 11,
Yeah.
12. First time I saw that movie, you know, she's already gorgeous through the whole movie.
Yeah.
And then at the end, she puts on those black skin tight pants.
You know, they had to sew her into those pants.
I don't care. That just did it for me. I mean, I was in love with Olivia Newton-John and her voice. I loved her
Yeah.
voice.
And you know the thing about me at the end of that movie, I was like, oh, she changed. But that's a girl for you instead of a boy.
Yeah, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I was a good little girl. I wanted
me
her
too,
to stay.
Debbie. I was like, oh, she changed. Woo! This is a much better version.
All right, Chris, what's your number 5, brother man?
Number 5, Styx, Pieces of 8.
Man, that is such a great album.
Great. I mean, you can't go wrong with The Great White Hope
Nope.
and Renegades on that album.
Yep.
And something else. I can't
Spoiler alert, guys. We're getting ready to record a Styx episode that goes into the complete history of Styx. And so Pieces of 8 was my actually introduction to Styx.
Yeah. That was a huge album because everybody was listening to that, especially Renegade. I mean, Lily Burrell lived down the street from us, and she was a huge Styx fan, and she loved. She was my age. And I'd go down there and we'd listen to Pink Floyd, The Wall, Styx. Yeah. You know, and her dad would just come in. I don't know what you're.
I don't know what you people are listening to. I love Leah's dad. He was a cool dude.
Yeah,
he was Cajun.
Dude. Yes.
He was so Cajun. Yeah.
Now, was that a double album?
No. The single album.
Did Styx make a double album?
No. Unless Caught in the Act, their live album from '84 was a double album.
This sounds like something Queen would put out.
Yeah. But Caught in the Act in '84.
I'm sorry.
So that's your number 5.
That's my number
Styx,
5.
Pieces of 8. What's your favorite cut off the album?
Yeah, definitely The Great White Hope. I love that song. I don't know why, but I do.
Okay.
I mean, I know Renegade's on there.
No. Listen, man. That's great.
I just like the way it starts out.
Yeah.
And then, ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. In this corner.
Wearing White from the City of the Big Shoulders. Okay, so my number 5 is Double Vision by Foreigner. Okay, you cannot underestimate. That's a huge album for Foreigner.
Foreigner was huge in the late 70s and early 80s.
You know, just a fantastic album. Double Vision by Foreigner. You had Hot Blooded on there, which was, I think, that was my introduction to Foreigner.
That was probably one of their number 1 hits, too.
Yep.
That and Jukebox Hero, but that wasn't on that album.
Debbie, give us your number 4 on the list, please.
Well, I'm going to say Queen.
Queen Jazz.
Jazz.
Yeah.
Queen, Nobody's Looking. Anyway.
Yeah.
Don't Stop Me Now.
Don't Stop Me Now.
I just love it. And, in the bicycle song, I remember.
Yeah, but my favorite off that's Fat Bottom Girls.
Yeah.
That's a great song.
I'm with you. 100%.
Yeah.
That is really
I like
good song.
that song. It's not my favorite one on there, but remember our son would be in the back and you would be playing the bicycle song and he would be singing, I want to ride my bicycle.
Yeah.
No, make no mistake about it, guys. Queen was huge in the late 70s. Huge. Everybody loved Queen.
Yeah. Some good stuff on there. So Debbie's just said Queen, Jazz, and that's her number 4. Chris, your number 4, sir.
Van Halen, first album.
Man, that first album. Man, you just can't touch that, can you?
Nope. Well, I mean, you've got 3 in front of it, but they were monumental in my life, so that's the reason. So was that album, but I mean, I had to choose.
Yeah.
You made me choose. I couldn't line them up in a row.
I know. So what's your favorite cut off the first Van Halen?
For me?
Yeah.
I ain't talking about Love, and I know it's a remake, but still, man, that guitar in that is just awesome. And it hit me from the first time I heard it. I just loved it. Loved it. But that whole album's good. We've talked about it.
Yes, we have.
Butch is over there drooling, and he's like wanting to talk more about it. But
if you want to go back and listen, we actually have our top Van Halen albums. You can go back a few episodes and listen to that. And so,
But you know what? I mentioned the song on the Van Halen podcast, and I would rather play it in the enhanced version for everybody, and that's Atomic Punk.
So shall it be. Ta-da!
I remember my brothers had the first Van Halen album, and I was young, 78, and I played Running with the Devil, and it scared me.
Oh, let me tell you, I have an older brother.
That first part,
I can do one better than that.
Yeah.
Try Black Sabbath War Pigs on 8-track. Oh my God. In the middle of the night, Marty's playing the devil music.
Oh man, so I have to go with my number 4 pick out of all this is from Journey, and it is the Infinity album. Now, I'm going to look and see because I have to make sure that I'm right on this, but is that not the first album with one Mr. Steve the Voice Perry?
It is.
Okay. You had songs in there like Lights, Patiently,
Wheel in the Sky.
Wheel in the Sky,
Patiently's not on that album.
Feeling That Way, Anytime, Feeling That Way, which you have to play together.
Yeah, they got to go back to back or it's not any good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it pisses me off when you play like a playlist and you've got it on shuffle.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for it to kick into the next part of
And
that.
it doesn't play the next part of it. Yes. I know. It makes you,
You
mad,
get
doesn't it?
Queen, bicycle instead.
But here's the cool thing about Infinity is that was kind of in a transition point of the band. Okay, so you had Greg Raleigh, who also sang a lot of lead vocals on that, and him and Steve would trade off, and that's some of my favorite old Journey
is.
songs.
It is.
On
Steve
there.
Perry, man, he definitely had the best voice in rock and roll.
He did,
me.
for me too. For me too. He could hit things not only in the studio, but they have recordings of him, like live recordings of like being able to hit these things just up in the stratosphere. That if you've ever been a vocalist before, is just like, and he was able to go out on stage and do that night after night and sing those songs, and that's just amazing.
I'm going
to
to tell a story on somebody, and he's a friend of mine, and you do not know him, but we were at a party one night, and this has been the last couple of years, and I really, really love this guy, man. He's a great guy. But he was talking about how he used to sing, and this is a New Year's Eve party, and he's like, yeah, I can cover Steve Perry. I just looked at him and I went, no, you can't.
No, you can't.
No,
you might sing in an octave lower, but you can't cover Steve Perry. You might sing it 2 octaves lower.
No, there's not. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is some of Journey's replacements for Perry have blown out their vocals because
Yes.
it's like Jonathan Cain from the band said, Steve could go from a head tone to a chest tone or a throat tone seamlessly.
Yeah.
Most people can't
They
do
can't
that,
do
and
that.
it wreaks havoc on the vocal
Yes,
cords.
and
I can't do
listen, Steve Perry is still he's in my top 3 favorite singers of all time, not vocalists, singers.
So, I mean, to put it in perspective, because you're sitting here, we sang together in high school, and I was a tenor 1. Mm-hmm. I can't do that.
No,
Well, he's
There's
a
no
soprano.
way- there's no
Literally,
way in hell I
he
could.
is
He's a
a
soprano.
soprano. Yeah.
Well, I sang soprano in middle
Yeah.
school and junior high,
Mm-hmm.
but when I got to high school, I was tenor 1, and he amazes me.
Yeah.
He literally amazes me.
I've never read exactly how many octaves his voice is. I know Rob Halpert from Judas Priest, they talked about three octaves.
He's more like 5 octaves.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so I don't know about Steve though, but I'm
Steve is
assuming
at
it's
least
probably
6 or 7.
Yeah.
What about the guy from Aha?
Yeah. Oh, listen, you talk about one of my favorite 80s songs
I love
right
that
there.
song,
That
dude.
is a
That's a
great
great
song.
I love the video. The video.
Yeah, the video is groundbreaking.
Cutting edge.
Which we talked about and by the time you hear this, our MTV episode will have aired, and you can go back and listen to that. Isn't that cool?
that
Then
is
go back
cool.
and listen to that. Debbie, you're number 3 on your top albums from 1978.
Well, I would say Boston.
Boston, Don't Look Back.
Yes.
Great follow-up
You
album.
Yeah.
just can't. Those twin guitars, those twin lead guitars, and the harmony. They're just so pleasing to the ear.
They are.
Yeah.
And he had, I don't know, there'd never been a sound like that. As a matter of fact, he invented it. Tom Schultz actually worked for Polaroid at the time he was making the first Boston album, and actually just invented a bunch of stuff to get the sounds that he wanted. The guy's a genius, and
He's tall as hell too.
yeah, he is. He is a tall dude. But I remember Debbie and I got to go see them. It was in 1993, I think, and Brad Delp, who was not on the album release from the album, which was Walk On, but he had joined them for the tour, and I'm so glad I got to see Brad
I wish
Delp.
I'd have got to see him then.
Before
I saw him
he-
the last time they were here, and I don't remember.
Yeah,
everything.
you and I went. It was you, me, my son Ryan, and man, it's drawing a blank. And Joe Thrash.
Joe Thrash.
Yeah. And we all went and
Ran into Mike. Sanders.
Yeah, ran into Mike Sanders.
Who was driving the car to the Kiss concert that I went to in '78.
In 1978.
But he was wearing an actual Boston concert tour shirt.
Yes, I remember him wearing that shirt back in the day on the bus.
Yep.
But so, Chris, your number 3.
Boston Don't Look Back.
Boston Don't Look Back. Listen, guys, Chris and I have talked about, and there's going to be a podcast episode that this comes out in, but it's albums you can put on, and there's not a bad song that you have to skip in the entire thing. And if you get the first 2 Boston albums, you can just track those
all the way through,
and start all over again.
So what's your favorite song on that album?
Which one, Boston?
Yeah,
Don't Look Back.
Probably the song "Don't Look Back."
Don't Look Back is really good.
That was their big hit off that album.
Yeah.
But for me, the song that really does it for me on that album is "A Man I'll Never Be."
That's mine. That's mine, dude. That's my favorite one off that album.
God, I love that song.
And so that's what we're going to play on the
lyrics.
Spotify enhanced version. Is "Man I'll Never Be."
Yeah, it's an awesome song.
But yeah, that is a fantastic one. Chris,
I just gave you my number 3.
you just gave number
Your
3. So my number 3 is Styx Pieces of 8.
Yeah.
That Styx album that came out. Listen, and we're about to do a Styx podcast here, but I just want to go ahead and borrow something from that right there. Dennis DeYoung gets a lot of grief for writing all the sappy stuff, and maybe he did. But there's some things he wrote on that Pieces of 8 album that are just straight ahead rockers. Okay.
Tommy Shaw wrote Renegade, though, right?
Yeah, he wrote
did.
Renegade.
Yeah.
But Great White Hope, I believe, was JY and Dennis that did that one. And that's our straight ahead rocker.
It is, and it's really good. It's my favorite on there.
But, Dennis wrote some rockers on that one. He really did. And so, he did. And we'll talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a Styx episode coming up. It's a spoiler alert that you'll be able to listen to. We'll talk about Styx's influence and Dennis's influence on Styx as time went on. But on that album, man, they were just hitting on all cylinders. They'd just come off the Grand Illusion from '77, which was probably their benchmark album.
It was.
But then they managed to just keep that level going.
Yep.
In this one right here. It was really good. So, so Debbie, what's your number 2 on the list?
I feel like I'm just repeating you guys just in a different order. So I'm going to pick something different. I know I'm not speaking into the microphone.
No. Listen, don't pick something different just because we pick something. You pick something that you like.
Okay.
That's what this is about.
I will say Foreigner. I didn't say Foreigner already, did I?
Foreigner, yeah. That Foreigner.
I just love their sound.
Double Vision.
Voice. Was just at its prime.
Yeah, in the mid-'80s.
And then seeing him later, I guess after his illness.
After he had the brain
vocal
tumor.
strain. And, and people would say, oh, he didn't sound that good. And it just kind of broke my heart because I know how good
he was.
He really is. That album, I want to know what album was I Want to Know What Love Is on?
That was on 4. That was in 81.
They brought in that choir from Philander Smith College in Little Rock. Just great.
Yeah, the Foreigner Double Vision album, man, it had like Hot Blooded. It had Double Vision on there. Blue Morning, Blue Day. Just some songs that you're still going to be hearing, 50 years from now.
Right.
On that one right there. So, Debbie, that was you, right, on number 3? Was that number 3? Chris, what's your number 3?
No, that was number 2.
Number 2. What's your number 2, Chris?
Double Live Gonzo.
Double Live Gonzo, Ted Nugent. Yeah, we can't quote a lot of what Uncle Ted said on that album, but yeah, that is a great. That is what. Listen,
I'd like to dedicate this song to all that. Never mind.
Yeah, thank you for stopping right there. So
tell me the big songs on that album.
Stranglehold.
Well, it's everything. It was a live album.
Was Cat Scratch Fever on that?
Yes, because it was a live album.
It was a live album.
And so it was all his previous albums, and he basically everything live on there.
This is one of those live albums that it really sounded good.
Yeah, it did, and it's an example of why Uncle Ted was such a draw at the time, and why he was Uncle Ted. Yep. But yeah, that Double Live Gonzo, that's your number 2. That's a great.
Free for All's on there, which is didn't get a lot of airplay, but what a great tune.
Well, that's one
That's
we're
a
going to
good
play on the Spotify enhanced version right now.
Yep. See, man, what a song.
What a song. Isn't that fantastic? Okay, so now we're going to go to my number 2, and we've already talked about this album before, and it's Boston Don't Look Back.
Yeah.
That hit my number 2 spot. That was one of the first 8 tracks I ever bought.
It's a monumental album. Actually, it's the first 45 I ever bought. Was
Really?
Don't Look Back.
Yeah.
The title track.
Man, it's a great album.
It was a great album.
Debbie, what's your number 1 album from 1978?
I would say Kansas.
Kansas, 2 for the show?
Yes. Just Dust in the Wind is such an anthem. And I've seen Kansas a couple of times
Yeah.
at least. Just
You've seen them with both lead singers that they had.
The instrumental pieces that they do, and just the musicianship.
Here's the thing about
everything
Kansas.
is top notch. Music, the vocals are so good, and they're
They are very much classical music put to a rock beat. That is a good example of them live is 2 for the show.
Well, if that's the case, Butch, if all you got to have is a flute, where's the Marshall Tucker Band in that classical?
Well, maybe they didn't have a release in 1978. Chris, you
Yeah.
ever think about that? Heard it in a love song. Can't be wrong.
Great album.
Please, people, come back. We promise not to sing again
No,
until
we
the next
don't.
time.
We'll sing again. It's gonna
do it
happen.
again. Chris, what's your number 1 from 78?
Double Platinum, Kiss.
Double Platinum Kiss. Listen, as someone Gene Simmons may be the most genius marketer there ever was.
Him and Paul McCartney.
Yep. And for Gene to be able to just come out and say, you know what, we got a lot of hits on this. Let's just put out a greatest hits album. Great. And it was a double album. It had all of their previous hits on there. And so you could go in and listen and get a good idea. It's like, oh, okay. I like this band.
This was actually their second live album. Actually, the third.
Yeah.
Because they had Kiss Alive, then they had Kiss Alive 2, and then Double Platinum.
Was Double Platinum a live album, or was it Greatest Hits?
I guess it was just not a live album.
I thought it was just the Greatest Hits
It's just
album.
Greatest Hits. I was
Yeah.
thinking, but the reason I brought that up
But there's
is
some live cuts on there because
Alive 2 came out the year before.
Yeah.
In 77. I know because I got it for Christmas. And I took it to school for show and tell. And I stepped off the old bus 37 at school, and the record fell out and hit the sidewalk and shattered. And I cried.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a sad story.
We're going to play taps.
Tell you what, maybe I should put sad music over that portion where you're talking.
Yeah. Speaking of Kiss and Gene Simmons and what a good businessman he is, we were watching Piers Morgan the other night, and the guy is a merchandiser, and he was doing something, and he had gum in his mouth, and he it was being filmed, and the people filming him said, Gene, can you take the gum out of your mouth? Took the gum out of his mouth, and they auctioned the gum on like eBay or something
For $200,000 plus
$1,000.
That
His
someone
chewing
paid for
gum.
that.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be kidding me.
And I don't
As
even think it
big
was
a
his
Kiss
idea.
fan as I am, I mean,
No.
Keller, did you buy that gum?
Keller bought the gum. That's what he did. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and come now with my number 1 album from 1978, and it is the first Van Halen album, simply for the groundbreaking.
Shocker.
Yeah, I know. Everybody is shocked. Everybody listening is totally shocked that I picked Van Halen as my number 1 album. But the thing is that it really was such a groundbreaking album in the way. Ted Templeman was the producer on that.
Who?
Ted Templeman.
Was he in the band?
He was like the 5th member for the first 5 albums.
Did he play an instrument? Did he sing?
He was a producer.
Did he play an instrument? Did he sing?
No, but he brought out the best.
I don't want to hear
of them.
about him then.
Yeah, okay. Well, okay. But
You're being
anyway.
asked a straight question, give a straight answer.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay,
Debbie.
thank
Thank you. Debbie, you come back anytime.
Yeah.
You are welcome anytime. Welcome to the Retro Show with Butch, Chris, and Debbie.
Yeah. Apparently, I've got to make some changes to the branding now because Debbie's going to be here now because now they can gang up on me. But yes, Ted Templeman was producer on that. But yes, you are correct that it was the talent of Eddie Van Halen that, no one had ever really heard guitar like that before.
No.
And it's just another one of those albums you can put on, play start to finish, and it is what it is.
So are they going to
and it's a
get
classic.
another Van Halen song right now on the
No.
enhanced? What?
Oh, yeah, of
you've
course
been
they'll get
cheating.
another
So-
Van Halen.
Pick it.
Oh, I thought you meant. Oh, which one am I going to play?
Yeah, I want to hear it now because
You want to hear it right now?
Yeah.
Atomic Punk.
What? No, wait a minute. I've already picked Atomic Punk. You can't play it again. You going to play it twice?
Why not?
Okay, cool.
Atomic Punk. Oh man! Listen, guys. Thanks for my lovely wife.
You know what? You mentioned the guitar, so play Eruption for him.
Play Eruption? Okay, we'll be back to close out the show after we play Eruption for you people who are listening to the Spotify enhanced version. But for those of you who aren't, guys, thanks for joining us on this show. Retroshow.net is where you can find out all the particulars about how to get a hold of us. We actually have a contact form there now, Chris, that sends you. Yes, if you send an email to chris@retroshow.net, he'll get a message. If you send one to butch@retroshow.net, I'll get a message. And also, if you send one to hey@retroshow.net, we'll both get a message.
Hey, check that out.
Hey@retroshow.net.
I'm sorry, Dave. You're going to have to be here for a few more shows before you get up.
Yeah, I know. You got to be here for a while before you get that. I'm so very sorry.
Hey, did you ever dream on your wedding day that you would be sitting here doing a podcast?
I love it though. I love it. You guys are so true. Enjoying each other's company, their songs, old things.
Old things like her husband.
AMF, guys.